Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a fantastic weekend so far, and I hope you're all having a fantastic start to 2022. I hope you're all staying strong, happy, and looking forward to a successful year. Students, in this class, we are looking at IELTS Task 1 writing. Specifically, this writing is for the academic version of the IELTS exam. So if you're doing the general IELTS, it's still good practice, but your writing Task 1 is quite different. So take note of that. Hi Bakrat, hi Jyoti, thank you for the Happy New Year wishes. And we're going to be focusing everybody on a Band 9 diagram essay in this class. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS and for lots of help with academic IELTS Task 1, visit us there, as well as for the other sections of the IELTS exam, and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. And right now, to help you start this year off with lots of success, we're giving a special discount only for the next 5 days on our website. It's a New Year's special. It is a 30% discount, and you get all of our great materials. You have to use the code IPASS2022. So IPASS2022. Our websites look like this, everyone. This is our academic IELTS website here at aehelp.com. You just click this big red button right there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. Doesn't cost a lot, and with a 30% discount, it really doesn't cost a lot, so use that discount. gieltshelp.com for general IELTS students. Again, click this big red button here to join our premium package. Hi Andre, Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you for all those emojis. Jihane, good to see you in the class. June, you're celebrating New Year's here with me in Canada. That's fantastic. Just a little ways over in the province of Alberta. That's super. All right, everyone. So right now we are looking at IELTS writing task 1 for the academic IELTS. If you have questions about the IELTS exam, you can reach me through email, adrian@aehelp.com. If you want to get our apps, you can download Academic IELTS Help or General IELTS Help, and you can follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. So we've got 2 classes today for you, Task 1 right now, and then we'll do some speaking right after that. And then we have a little bit of a break as usual, no class on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, there's no class. But I'm back on the 5th, and then you will have live classes from the 5th to the 8th. Again, you can see our schedule on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and you can also see it on our Instagram profiles as well. This is a members chat class, as you probably realized. If you try to chat in the class and you can't, it's because maybe you're not a member. So it's a members chat class. To become a member, click the join button beside the subscribe button. If you don't see that, memberships aren't available in every region. So if you don't see that join button, just send me an email. We can give you more help to become a member. And don't worry, we will have an all-chat class coming up after this class in about 90 minutes where everybody will be able to join in on the fun, the New Year kickoff for speaking part 1. So let's get into today's lesson. IELTS Task 1 writing. It is an expository essay, everybody. Okay, again, just a reminder for some of you, maybe new for some other students, there are basically 4 standard formats or types of writing: persuasive, expository, descriptive, and narrative. Task 1 in the academic IELTS, it's called an expository essay. The goal of an expository essay is to explain an idea. Okay, and the expository essay is written in third-person voice. That means no I, no me, no mine, no you, no we, no us. Okay, those are all different. Those are first and second person voice pronouns. So don't use those, okay? So third person essays, they use people, individuals, customers. So they use the objective nouns of the author. Happy New Year, Carolina. I hope New Year's went off well for you in Argentina. Carolina is our chat moderator. Welcome to the very first class of 2022. Thank you for moderating for us in 2021, and we're looking forward to your help in 2022 as well. Okay. Yeah, Jihane, if you can't watch me, it's probably from your side. The stream definitely looks excellent on my side, so check your connections. Yep. All right, everyone. So let's get into today's essay. Here's the picture. This is what we're looking at right now. So we're starting off with a map or diagram, if you will, or a blueprint is maybe another way to do it, of a town here. Step number 1 is to read the question really, really carefully, okay? So IELTS Task 1 writing. Read with me, everyone. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. So you got 20 minutes. You better get moving. You better know what to do, right? Here we go. The following map shows the changes in the town of Springer from 1970 until now. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. At least means minimum, and if you're going for that band 7, 8, or 9, it's going to be a little bit more. It'll be more like 200, maybe even 220. Okay? All right. So we read the question, okay, and we remember that it's an expository essay in the third-person voice, and we remember that it has 4 parts, okay? 4 parts to a good essay, especially if you're going for that high band score. You're going to have an introduction, an overview, a body, and a summary. Okay? Sometimes students ask me, like, how many words, right? It's kind of tough to say, but let's say for a band 9, it's around 220. So I would say, like, maybe your introduction is like 30 words. Okay. Overview, maybe another 30 words. So this is just an estimate. Of course, it depends on the question and what you're writing. The body is going to be kind of the main part of it. So I would say that's like 150 words. Okay, roughly, just to give you an idea. And then the summary is maybe like another 20 words, something like that. Again, these are just kind of rough estimates, but it's just to give you an idea of the division, roughly, of what you should be thinking when you're putting together this essay. And this essay is kind of like a recipe, so if you know what you're doing, it's kind of like making chocolate chip cookies. All right, so you do step number 1 first. Step 1 is paraphrase the question with additional details from the graph. Okay, and this will basically equal your introduction. Okay, so it's that simple. So all you have to do here is use this question information, especially this first sentence here. The following map shows the changes in the town of Springer. And probably it'd be more accurate to say shows and maps because there's two of them. The following maps show the changes in the town of Springer from 1970 until now. Okay, so we want to paraphrase that, but we want to look at the maps or blueprints here, if you will. And then we can see that on the left side we have 1970, and we've got these features here. And then on the right side we have the current map, and we've got these features here. And then at the bottom we've got a compass, which is northwest, east, south. And we've got all of these little icons here with houses, apartments. What is that called, members? So what do you call this here that's just right above my head, right there? So that's showing us what each of these little pictures or icons here represent. What do you call that in a map? It's good to know this word. That's why I'm asking you. And I think some of you know it, so I'm always trying to get you to draw upon your knowledge. Nufal, very good, Nufal. Nufal says that's called your legend. It's the map's legend. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the legend that gives you clarity on what is being represented by, for example, the little tree that's right there represents forest area. Of course, that makes sense. Amrinder, it's not legends, so we never use plural in this case. It's a legend. So Nafal, very good. So we've got the legend there, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different features, right? So at an eye shot, we can see that. So we've got our compass, and we've got 8 different features that are represented, ranging from houses to roads to airports, shops, schools, and farmland. All right, and so now we can write our introduction based on that information plus the information given in the question. So let's do that, everyone. You write the paraphrase for this, adding in some detail that we just discussed. I will do the same, and then we'll compare, and I'll give you some feedback, okay? So here we go. Remember to paraphrase as much as possible. You'll probably see me do that. I'll write the same word that's in the question, and then I'll replace it with another word, right? All right. So there is my paraphrase with details. Okay, let's see if I can. Yeah, it's not going to fit on the same page here. Let me grab the original from here just so you can kind of see it. All right, there we go. Okay, so Nafal, says, let me grab that, Nafal. So this is Nafal here. Okay. And Nafal, I know, it's the chat and you're typing quickly, but Nafal and everybody else, do pay attention to your capitalization because if you're not consistent with your capitalization, it's easy to make a mistake in the actual exam or in your writing. So it's the presented maps illustrate. Okay, watch this mistake here, Nafal. Okay. Remember, when it's a plural maps, then you do not have the S on the end of the verb. Okay, so the presented maps illustrate how the town of Springer has evolved over the years from 1970 until today. Okay, so Nafal, that's a good start, but you don't have additional detail. Okay, so make sure to include that kind of detail that that we're discussing about the legend. Okay, in your introduction. All right. Okay, if you make that a part of your overview, it's kind of okay as well, but I would say that the overview should be more of an explanation of the main features rather than simply just stating a description. So it's the introduction that has the description. Overview is already the explanation. Okay. All right. So careful with that. Also, Nafal, and this is for everybody else, I recommend avoiding question-style statements in the or in your writing. So how the town of Springer. So instead of writing, Nafal, how the town of Springer, usually in good writing, it's suggested to avoid that, but rather use statement style affirmative language. So the presented maps illustrate the evolution of the town of Springer over the years or from 1970 until today, instead of using how. Okay, especially because we don't know the how, right? So these maps don't actually explain to us how it happened. It just explains what happened. So careful with that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so avoid using the question markers in your statements like how. Okay, Bavim, let's take another one. So I'll take a couple for each of these. I can't take everybody's students because otherwise we'll just get stuck on the introduction for the whole class, but I'll take a couple to give you some feedback. Okay, let me untrack here. Okay. All right, so here we go. Watch your plurals, Bavin, so the maps. And also, Bavin, try to be specific. So the two maps demonstrate the development that took place over half a century in the district of Springer from 1970. Yeah, I really like this half a century component here. I'm glad that you recognize that right away. That's an important observation, one that we will certainly reference a bit later on. So that was really good. Students, don't forget that detail, right? So don't forget the detail, the extra detail. So take a look at what I wrote here, and then you'll see what I mean by the extra detail, okay? So these two blueprints indicate the development of the settlement of Springer from 1970 until present, along with a legend which includes a compass and 8 different features ranging from houses to shops and farmland. Notice how that's just a much more in-depth introduction to this essay. So notice this part here, okay? All right, so that's the detail, okay? So don't forget this detail. It's very important. Everybody got that? Everybody's like, good, okay? Details get you points. If you're just paraphrasing, even if you have perfect grammar, great spelling, you're probably going to score about a band 7. If you want to score that band 8 or band 9, they're looking for that added level of detail, okay? All right, June writes, these two blueprints present the alterations that have taken place in the town of Springer from the beginning of the 70s to present. A legend is provided to show architecture and green space in the town, along with a compass indicating the directions. Very nice, June. So June basically did this in 2 sentences. It's very, very good. It's lots of detail. That's exactly what you want to do. All right. Good to see so many members participating in this class. That's fantastic. Keep going, everyone, because I will pick different people's writing at different times through the progression of this essay. Okay. So here we have our introduction. And again, if you can't do this, or if you don't want to do this in one big sentence like what I just did, then you can do it in 2 sentences like how June did it, okay? So Bakrat did it in 2 sentences as well, and that's absolutely fine, okay? So I could also do it in 2 sentences, and instead of saying along with and a comma, I could do it also includes a legend, which includes, I wouldn't repeat includes, it also contains a legend which shows, okay? So don't repeat words, but you could do it like that as well. All right, watch your word repetition, everyone. That's an important point as well. Don't repeat words, okay? Especially not in the same sentence. All right, so that's our introduction. Now we want our overview. Okay, so here's the introduction, and now comes the overview. All right, so the overview, basically it's the main features, right? So what you can see right away, okay? So what can you see right away in this blueprint or in these 2 maps? What can you see right away? What is something that becomes apparent very, very quickly? So this is where you want to analyze the picture, and your analysis will be used for your overview and for your body paragraph. Basically, when we're talking overview, we're talking kind of like the main features, okay? Introduction is a description, okay? And overview is the main features. It's kind of like your thesis statement as well, okay, your overview. IELTS likes to see these 2 paragraphs separately as 2 paragraphs. In university, you would never do that. In university, this would just be your 1 paragraph. It would be your introduction. There's no such concept as an overview for a paragraph. That's just something strange that I think IELTS has come up with, but whatever, we're doing IELTS, so let's make them happy. Okay, so Janil is basically saying that this settlement has more or less become from a town into a city. Janil, careful with that, because we're not really aware of what is the technical definition of a city. Clearly there are apartments, so there's a lot of population growth or density, right? Okay. And there's the addition of an airport. But what can we see mostly? So stick to the main features. You can't, so the overview is not your body paragraph. You can't start talking about airports and apartment buildings and all of the likes. You just have to see, what has happened as the main feature. Okay, so keep it simple. Keep it simple. What is being developed here over this half century? Okay. So yes, you can see a lot of buildings. Yes, you can see an airport. How would you simplify that into an overview in this case? Okay. What do you call these kinds of features like roads and schools and airports? So Nafal says, overall, it can be seen that the forest area has shrunk due to the introduction of infrastructure. That's what I'm looking for, New Fall. So there is a lot of infrastructure that has been built over the course of this half century. Real estate has boomed. That's right, Jihane. Andrew Razak says urbanization. Okay, yeah, so if we take all of those great words that are being used by our members there, then you can really get moving on this overview, right? So over the course of the past half century, a great amount of urbanization has taken place in Springer with the establishment of significant infrastructure and decrease of rural farmlands and forests. Okay, so you can just do it like that, right? So again, this is just your overview. All right, remember it's about 30 words, right? So let's take a couple of students writing here. Okay. Anybody catch up with the overview yet? So write your overview. If you have it, write it. Nafal has the overview. All right. Constructions. I don't have the word construction, so I'm not sure where you're getting from. We generally don't use, so constructions is not plural. It's construction, okay? Not constructions. It's construction. No S on that word. It's non-count, okay? All right, this is Amrinder's overview here. So this is what Amrinder writes. Amrinder says, at first glance. Yeah, and you can introduce it like that. Notice how I didn't introduce it, which is also okay. So it's clear that the overview is the overview. If you use a kind of a standard expression like at first glance or immediately, it is noticeable. That's fine. You can do that. Okay, so there's no problem with that. So Amrinder says, at first glance, it is clear that over the last half century, so we need a bit of information clarity there. Okay, last half century, because it's from 1970 until now, so it's the last half century, right? So at first glance, it is clear that over the last half century, agriculture and woods and wooded areas, it's a tricky one, but this would be a better way to write it here. Wooded areas not got shrinked, okay? What's the irregular infinitive of shrink, students? So let's help out Amrinder here. How do you say shrink? It's shrink, shrank, and just think of drink, right? So in English, when you have the ink as part of the verb, then think of the verb drink, drink, drank, and drunk, right? Tatiana says it's shrunk. Okay, so careful because Amrinder, when you make verb mistakes like that, it almost becomes impossible to get over band 7 or 7.5. It's just expected that somebody who is very good or an expert user of English would clearly know that the word is shrunk. Okay. So at first glance, it is clear that over the last half century, agriculture and wooded areas shrunk as opposed to several public places has developed. So we got a grammatical mistake here. Anybody know what the grammar mistake here is in this part of Amrinder's sentence? So again, instead of just giving you the fish, I'm also trying to show you how to fish. So if we can help correct Amrinder's writing here, that would be great. All right, so how should Amrinder have written the sentence in this case? So as opposed to several public places, something, so that I'll give you a little bit of help here. There's a missing word in here. Okay, and there's a bit of a mistake here as well. How do we need to correct this? Okay. Janelle says it's a passive sentence. Yeah, because there's somebody making that development. Absolutely. So it should be passive. Yeah, June, you're right. So the missing word here, June says, is that. Okay, so as opposed to several public places that have been developed. And I would finish this with over the same period. Okay, so Amrinder, careful with that kind of a sentence. As you can see, there's quite a bit of fixing that needs to happen. Yeah, Bakrat says it should be have been in there. Carolina agrees. So notice if we're all agreeing on that and I'm catching it and your peers are catching it, you can bet that the examiner will also catch that. So this is the correct sentence here, okay? So at first glance, it is clear that over the last half century, agriculture and wooded areas shrunk as opposed to several public places that have been developed over the same period. Now that's a correct band 9 level sentence as opposed to a band 5, 6, 5-ish. Okay, so careful with that. But good use of the word agriculture, so I don't want to just poke at the bad. I want to emphasize the good as well. I think using the word agriculture here is very good. All right, and wooded areas are good. The verb shrunk is good too. Okay, all right. That's how we learn, through our mistakes. Okay, good, good. So we've got our introduction, we've got our overview. Now it's time to get into the body paragraph. Okay, and Jane, have been, okay, because it's places, right? So places have been developed, okay? Jane, so watch your plurals. Okay, so now we want to kind of, describe the main changes that happen here, starting from number 1 to number 5. You want to kind of identify about 5 different key points for your body paragraph, all right? So let me just hop over here and let's get going on these. All right. So now comes the body. Actually, you know what? Let's do it from up here. All right. So now comes the body paragraph. The body paragraph, of course, is your analyses. Okay, just put an E in there and it's plural. It's your analyses, and you need about 5 points. So think of, or not even think of, but I should say identify, and in a structured way, okay, 5 to 6 key points. Okay, and it's going to be obviously comparison here, or comparative, between the two time periods, all right? So look at what you can kind of observe the biggest and have structure, right? So we want to kind of move in a systematic way. So what I would do here is I would move from the top down, okay? We can see a lot of big changes. Welcome, Guangkai Ren, back to our group of members. It's awesome to have you back on board. All right, so move from the top down or from the left, right, or as we should say, according to the compass here. Nope, that's way too big. Let's do that. So as you can see with the compass here, everybody can see me draw around the compass, you can go from north to south or from west to east through the map. Okay, so have logic to the numbering and the descriptions. Okay, so that's what I would do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of move region by region here. Okay, that's what I would do logically. So don't jump around this map because then it's going to be very, very confusing for your reader. Okay, all right. So virtually nothing is staying the same. We can kind of see that here. Okay, virtually nothing stays the same. A little bit of forested areas remain. Most of the forested areas are used up for urbanization. Most of the agricultural land is also used up for urbanization. We'll get into those details more in a moment here. So let's do a bit of typing here. Let's go a bit bigger on the typing. There we go. So I would probably start from here. I would divide this into quadrants, and I would do this as 1, and then here I would do 2, and then here I would do maybe 3 over here. Okay, and then I would do 4 here. Okay, so this would be my logical progression of the information. So starting from the northwest, moving to the northeast, and then the central part of this town, and then moving through the southern part. Okay, so that's how I would do it. So northwest, okay, that would be my point 1. Northeast would be my point 2. Central would be my point 3. And then southern would be my point 4. This doesn't mean that you have to follow the same logic that I have when you're comparing these two maps. You could have a little bit of a different logic, but this makes sense to me. Does this make sense to you? So I don't want to lose you here with my thinking. Does it make sense why I'm going in this way? Why I'm comparing the map in this way? I have that compass at the bottom, so I know the directions, so I'm using that compass. And then I feel that going through the map in this way will make sense to the reader. Does everybody follow kind of why I've picked this breakdown of the map? Because we kind of have, like that dense urban population in the northwest with those apartment buildings, and then we've got that addition of the new airport in the northeast. And then I can see that in the central part of the town, we've got some shops, so some retail space with the school, and then we've got the southern part that's obviously been divided into more shops, some urban housing, the retention of the farmland, and then, of course, some more urbanization with the apartments. Okay, so Tatiana says that makes sense. Jyoti kind of sees my logic there. Okay, so let's do it this way. I think we can all follow this. Try to keep this in your mind. So we'll start with number 1, and we'll get right into the description. Okay, I'm going to write a little bit faster here now, just so we can see the completion of this essay in the class, but write with me. So you don't have to follow the same order if you don't want to. You can choose different parts just so we can see different writing from different students. If your writing is good, I'll definitely know whether you're writing about 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, I'm going to start typing away here a little bit, starting with the northwest. Okay, and we can say that to our readers. So we can say, starting with the northwest of Springer, okay, over the course of 50 years, over the 5-decade period, houses and forest has been, and with this kind of a map, you're using lots of passive voice. So this is students where you really need to be strong with your passive sentences, okay? So forests have been replaced by apartment buildings. Leaving significantly less green space. Moving to the northeast, what was once a forest has been developed into an airport. Okay, so there's my northwest and northeast. In the central part of Springer, looking at this spot here, okay, many more or much more retail venues have been built along with a school. Again, leading to the reduction of wooded areas with some forest remaining to both the east and the west. Okay, all right. So I'm typing away here, but students, members, I am looking at the chat to see if any of you are describing these 4 points that we've talked about. So I don't quite see anybody writing. I'm sure you're paying attention to what I'm doing as well. But I'll be going over this at the end of the class anyway, so try to kind of listen to me with half your attention, and then with the other half of your attention, try to write as well, so with your own, or in fact, just ignore me completely and write your own thoughts. So I'd love to catch some of your sentences, okay? Tatiana, this is the body paragraph. So Tatiana's asking, shouldn't the central part description be in the body paragraph? This is the body paragraph. This is all the body paragraph, Tatiana. So this comparative is all in the body paragraph. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to this fourth part here, which is the southern part of the town. Okay. And the southern part of the town, I can see that this farmland or agriculture, as was very well paraphrased by Amrinder, I believe, yes, has been reduced to a quarter of the size. So know your fractionals for maps and diagrams, right? Half, a third, a quarter. Of course, these words are also really useful for pie charts. So half, a quarter, a third. So use that kind of description. So here, we're looking at this bottom quadrant here, and notice how here it's just a quarter the size, and then of course the other 3/4, okay, have become shops, some urban housing, and some more apartment buildings. Okay? And of course, we've got this forest off to the west here that has kind of remained the same. Okay? So that all together is, of course, the southern part of Springer and the development that has taken part in the south. Okay? So let's now describe that. Okay? All right. And again, always focus your attention mostly on the main features because oh, sorry, Tatiana, I see what you're saying. I think I wrote that somewhere else, right? Where did I stick that last part? Okay. Yeah, sorry. I see what you mean, Tatiana. It's my bad. I meant to write that in the body paragraph. I think just because I was moving around there, I got into the wrong part. But yes, thank you, Tatiana. I get you now. Okay, yeah, so that should be here. Okay. All right, so now let's write the southern part. I got you. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I meant to write that in the body paragraph, Tatiana. I was just clicking in the wrong spot. It's challenging paying attention to what everybody's writing, plus explaining, plus finding the right place for the cursor. Okay, so in the southern part of this settlement, two-thirds, or actually three-quarters, of the agricultural land had been developed let's use a different word, transformed into shops, housing, and apartment buildings with just 1/4 of farmland remaining to the most southeastern corner of Springer. Okay. And if you've got time, you can write this. If you don't have time, you can just go to your summary. The forest to the west has remained intact. Okay? So intact means untouched or undisturbed. All right. Now, depending on your skill level, of course, you can go into even more description, more detail. But at this point, as long as you've got good grammar, good vocabulary, you're on the right path, and now you're ready to go for your summary. So your summary is just a reflection of what can be learned by looking at this graph, okay? So think about what can be learned by looking at this graph, right? It's not just a repeat of your introduction, and it's not a conclusion because you're not assuming anything, you're not inferring anything. It's just something that's very, very evident, okay? So in summary, before we look at that, let me just take a look at what you're writing here. So like I said, I did want to see some writing, and I can see some writing here. So Jainiel writes the northwest, because it's the specific northwest region of the town of Springer, Jainiel. So you need the article the. So the northwest part of Springer, houses and forest have been replaced by apartments, several roads with some forests over the 50 years. It's a little bit off because the forests don't replace forests. The forests just remain. Okay, so careful with that information confusion at the end of your sentence there, Jainil. Bakrat says, in the northwest, forests have been replaced by airports and apartments. Bakrat, the airport is in the northeast, so careful with information mistakes. So students, if you make mistakes with your information, like, for example, if you call this north west, the examiner will catch that and you start to lose marks, okay? So especially for band 7, 8, 9, information mistakes are bad. You want to be accurate with information, okay? All right. In the center of the city, a school has been built. Bakrat, always passive, right? We don't know who's building, so has been built by the town or by the government, okay, right? Several retail shops and forests in the eastern part of city after half century. Don't keep repeating the 50 years, half century, so careful with that. We've already stated that, okay? All right. So, okay. Gong Kai Ren says farmland on the south part has shrunk to about a quarter the size of the past. Gonkai, I like how you're using 1/4. So instead of writing 1/4, Gonkai is just using 1/4 like this. Okay, and that's good to do as well in writing so that you're saving time and space. This would be 1/4. Okay, or the other term that I used is 3/4. And notice how Word is even changing that into the proper little mathematical notation, 1/4, 3/4. So you can use that to save yourself time so that you can give more information and more detail. That's why I don't like writing things like immediately at first glance it can be observed that, because that's just time wasting, right? So you can be more precise and get more points for writing more details. All right, the summary, students. So what can we summarize about these maps? Well, clearly we can summarize that the Springer has undergone considerable amount of development and population growth over the course of the last 50 years. We don't know if we want to call that a city yet, but in order to support all of this housing and all of this population boom, we can see that there are lots and lots of roads that have also been built. So look at all these roads that are going through the city, right? So we've got all these roads that are allowing the transport for all these people, right? Okay, so we can write that in our summary. Okay, just keep it, again, don't overthink the summary. It doesn't have to be complicated, but if you want to get a band 8, band 9, you should be thinking summary, right? So in summary, both the infrastructure and population of Springer have boomed since 1970, and this has also led to the establishment or the construction of many new roads to facilitate transportation. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. And then I'm going to read my whole essay to make sure that it makes sense. Here we go. So these two blueprints indicate the development of the settlement of Springer from 1970 until present, along with a legend which includes a compass and 8 different features ranging from houses to shops and farmland. Over the course of the past half-century, a great amount of urbanization has taken place in Springer, with the establishment of significant infrastructure and decrease of rural farmlands and forests. Starting with the northwest of Springer, let's put a comma there, Over the 5-decade period, let's put another comma there, houses and forests have been replaced by apartment buildings, leaving significantly less green space. Moving to the northeast, what was once a forest has been developed into an airport. In the central part of Springer, much more retail venues have been built along with a school, again leading to the reduction of wooded areas, with some forest remaining to both the east and the west. In the southern part of this settlement, 3/4, so we can replace that with 3/4 of the agricultural land had been transformed into shops, housing, and apartment buildings, with just 1/4 of farmland remaining to the most southeastern corner of Springer. The forest to the west has remained intact. In summary, both the infrastructure and population of Springer have boomed since 1970, and this has also led to the construction of many new roads to facilitate transportation. Yeah, Amrinder is asking, is the summary really necessary? My institute teacher said it's not compulsory. Yeah, but your institute teacher is maybe not teaching students to get a high band score like a band 8 or a band 9. If you want to get a band 8 or a band 9, it's definitely a good idea to summarize your expository essay. Think logically, Amrinder. So don't think this teacher said that, that teacher said that. Think about it logically. Think about if somebody is giving a presentation. Let's say it's a construction company or a development company, and they're giving a presentation on this town and potential investment opportunities, right? Then they would give their presentation and they would summarize their presentation. And that summary in this case would be about the overall development of Springer and maybe what can be expected in the future, right? Now, I don't suggest summarizing what we don't know when it's a written essay like this, but that's the logic behind giving a summary. Okay, so yes, you should, and it's unfortunate that teachers don't discuss this with students, because in university, you're going to be shocked if you don't write a summary. The professor is definitely going to give a low score. They're going to put a circle and they're going to go, so what did we learn? Or so what can you learn from this, right? So what are you saying here in summary, right? So think about that. So if you want a high band score, definitely think summary. Okay, it's going to help you. All right. Okay, everyone. So that's it for this essay. All right. And that is a task 1. Now, if you would like to get a score estimate for your task 1 writing, you can do that by emailing your task 1. Okay, so please send me an email. All right, and then we can send you back a score estimate. We can let you know what you can expect to get for that kind of writing. Okay. All right, everyone. So keep in mind that we do have this incredible discount from our premium IELTS courses to help you kick off the new year with positive vibes, with the gift of knowledge. So you can use this 30% discount, iPass 2020. And you can use that on our websites at gieltshelp.com, which is this website here. Just click that big red button to join our premium package, and then when you click that, you can click this use coupon code, and when you hit iPass 2022, I should say, then hit continue, and it will give you that discount. Different prices depending on where you live in the world, of course, but yeah, keep that in mind. Academic IELTS, it's the same. Click that big red button to join the premium package there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, or at least until you pass IELTS. So use that. And I will be back, everyone, in 30 minutes with speaking part 1, where we will practice some speaking with students in real time in live class using our website. You're very welcome, Jyoti, Tatiana, very, very welcome. Bakrat, Janil, welcome. Keep up the good work, everyone. Thank you to all of our viewers. Hopefully I will see you in 30 minutes. Thank you for moderating the class. And again, Happy New Year to everybody. Bye for now. I'll be back soon.